Welcome to Talking All Things Business. I'm Faye Waterman and I'm the host of the show. My guest tonight is Gerry Huston, and Gerry is a qualified primary school teacher and a life coach. She's taught at schools throughout central Queensland and southeast London before becoming a life coach. Gerry got to a point in her life where she was feeling unmotivated, lacking in direction, was stuck in a negative mindset. She then began working with a life coach and within 3 months noticed a massive improvement in her direction, purpose in life, plus regained her positive mindset. Gerry graduated from her coaching training in 2011 and has since completed several personal and professional development courses, such as becoming an NLP practitioner, a timeline therapist, and is currently a student of the Bob Proctor and Gallagher Institute. She works with people. I'm just going to say that again because I can cut it out. Timeline therapist and currently a student of the Proctor Gallaher Institute. She works with people throughout Australia, focusing on both personal and business coaching. Gerry is passionate about helping people turn their thinking into results. Welcome, Gerry, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Faye. Thank you for having me. I'm pretty excited.
That's my pleasure. Now, Gerry, tell me a little bit about who you are and what you do and why you do what you do.
Yeah, so I live in central Queensland in a little rural sort of town called Emerald, and I grew up around this area actually, so I love living here. I've got a gorgeous hunky husband, as I call him, and two very gorgeous but very active little boys. So I've got a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. And as you mentioned before, I've got a background in teaching. So I graduated from my teaching degree and I was teaching all through central Queensland, little tiny schools through here. And then I went over to London because that's what I always wanted to do. I wanted to teach overseas. So I did that, came home, got married and thought, you know, it's easy to have kids. We'll just have a kid like that. However, our journey wasn't that easy, and I got to the place where I was just didn't know who I was. I had such a negative mindset and just spiraling down. So came to a fork in the road where I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing with my life? You know, what direction am I taking? And so that's when I started working with a life coach. And within 3 months, I was like hooked. I was just like, yeah. This is what I want to do. This is how I want to help people. So yeah, I've been doing that since 2011. So yeah,
that's fantastic. Now, when you were growing up, you obviously it's farmland around there. Did you grow up on a farm or did you grow up in the township itself?
We grew up on a property about 60k from the nearest town. So, and it was cattle. So at the age of 4, we're all out on horses. I'm one of 4, and I'm pretty sure my parents had 4 kids because it's, you know, cheap labour. We're always busy, always working. And, but it was a great, like, upbringing, you know, you had to be very capable and had wide open spaces. Worked with animals a lot. So, primary school was an hour-and-a-half bus run, so that would be
wow.
That's in the morning and then an hour and a half on the way home, and dirt roads. And we used to love the rain because the road would be cut off, so you'd have rainy days where you'd be stuck at home. However, the teachers sort of wised up after a while, and at the beginning of term you get these rainy day or wet weather books, like schoolwork you'd have to do at home. So I was like, So, yeah.
And did you do that for your students when you were teaching?
Well, some of the schools that I did work at, we did have wet weather days because, again, it was central Queensland. Like, some of the schools were one teacher schools, so you'd have, preschool right up to year 7 in the one classroom. So
Right.
yeah, it was a really great experience, and you got to work with a lot of different kids and age groups, and I think also in small schools it's community as well, so I really liked that community.
Right.
So I'm really passionate about small schools, so yeah, love being involved, love teaching and being involved in that community. So.
Beautiful. Now, on the other side now, you actually you call yourself a life coach, and you are an NLP practitioner, NeuroLinguistic
Programming. Yeah.
Programming, that's right. And timeline therapist as well, which is an interesting combination. And then you've decided to join the Proctor Gallaher Institute and do some more training there, which you now are bringing into your work as well. So let's talk a little bit about what you actually do now and why you do what you do.
Yeah, so like I said before, I just was at that fork in the road where I was just questioning, what am I doing? Just looking at where I was, looking at the results I was having, and I was just really unhappy. And so that's what really kicked me into, first becoming a life coach and working with individuals in that capacity. Then we were lucky enough to have 2 children, as I mentioned before, and while I had my children, I sort of left my life coaching business, just sort of evaporate, I suppose, because I was really loving being a mum, loving being hands-on, being really involved in my children's lives, which was wonderful. And pretty much, Faye, exactly to this day, Tim and I had a pregnancy loss, and that really rocked my world again. And I was just lost, both, physically or emotionally and mentally, just lost. And I felt I was probably the lowest I've ever been.
Right.
And that's when I, drew on my previous coaching that I'd done. And I was then also introduced to the Proctor Gallaher style of coaching. And it really focuses on your mindset. So working on from the inside out. And I could just see myself slowly regaining, the positivity, the energy.
The confidence.
Yeah, the confidence.
All those things. Yeah, great.
Yeah, it just felt like I was just putting one brick in front of, on top of the other, like building myself up again. And so that really, it really highlighted to me that if I've gone through this, other people have gone through this as well. And again, another fork in the road. And I was like, I could really just write off 2018 and be like, ugh, it's a terrible year. Or I can turn it into something meaningful and, give back, work with people who maybe are, lost, lacking that self-confidence, stuck, don't really know what their next step is or how to do it, or just really trapped by their, negative mindset. So, yeah, that's when I started really jumping into this way of coaching, I suppose, because I myself personally changed, and I witnessed people also changing who'd gone through the program. And now I'm a Proctor Gallaher Institute consultant. So I'm actually also now facilitating this type of coaching with my clients and just seeing the light turn back on inside them. So what sort of things do you do to help people make the changes in their life? What is it that, when you have a conversation with somebody as a coach and, you can see what's going on in their world, what sort of people reach out to you in the first place? What sort of things are they struggling with? What are they not doing that they want to do but have that fear of judgment or fear of failure or whatever? Yeah, and I think you summed it up beautifully. There's a whole range of people that, reach out for coaching or want to find out more. And it's not necessarily people who, you think, oh my goodness, that person, you'd have to be really low to try and work with a life coach, feel really low or, really negative or whatever. But it's actually all different types of people. So I've got people who are even quite successful or successful in their business, but they're reaching out just for more direction or, working smarter, not harder, or being more productive, getting off like, the treadmill of life, like busy. And if you're a parent or, it's an everyday person, like I feel like we get caught up in this glorification of busy. It's like helping people go from busy to productive, or people stop self-sabotaging. Yeah.
And it is, we do tend to self-sabotage ourselves, and we, as human beings, we can be quite hard on ourselves. And I suppose you did say there that you were working with people that are quite successful, and I suppose those people get to a certain point in their life and in their business, and they think, well, I need a little bit more clarity to see where else I can go and what direction I can go in. So then they call on you to ask you how, to give them strategies and structure or some clarity to say, let's go, you can go this way, you can go that way, but giving them things to think about and supporting them on that journey.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And like when I am having a coaching session, especially an initial coaching session with somebody, I say to them, coaching is like having a conversation with direction and purpose. So you can have a conversation with your friends and they'll just tell you what you want to hear. But when you're having a conversation with a coach, it's telling you, like the coach is telling you what you need to hear, what you need to hear to move, like, into that clarity, away from being stuck or overwhelmed or that negative mindset.
And it's all about not pussyfooting around. It's actually saying, these are the hard facts. Suck it up and let's do it. And it's all about, you can give them the strategies and the structure and the clarity, or help them with all that. But they are responsible for taking the action. If they don't take the action, nothing happens, does it?
That's exactly right. And, when you said pussyfooting around, like that's so true. I say to my clients, I can be your biggest cheerleader as well as your accountability buddy. So I'll cheer from the sidelines, or I'll give you that little kick up the butt if you need it. So and I don't really mince my words.
And there's no point. They want to work with you because they want to get results. So therefore you have to have clarity about what you're going to do when you're working with them. And that's that first consultation that you would have with them to find out where they're sitting, where they're at, what their needs are, what they want. And if they're successful already, they just need that little bit of a nurture or a push or something like that to get them to the next level, to take that step up. But when you're working with startup businesses, or you're working with someone who just the general person who's not in business, but just needs that nurturing to get them to another level in their life where they feel good about themselves and they can continue on. So would you get many of those clients?
Yes, definitely. So it's a real mix, but I am, attracting people who may have sat on a dream or a goal for years and years, but have been too scared to action it, or got too busy with life, or, don't feel they have the confidence to do it, or the belief in themselves. And that's both personal and professional. Like some people, like you said, get to a point in their business, they may have had some success, but then they just don't know how to take it to the next level. And with coaching, I do have clients that come to me just for business coaching, and I say, look, we all start at the same place, because you're taking yourself into business, you're taking yourself into relationships, you're taking yourself into your career or your job, or yourself into your family. So we've got to work on yourself first, and then that in turn has like the ripple effect out in all those other areas of your life.
Yeah. And it is a ripple effect, isn't it? Because you've got to start with the basics, look at where you need to take that, and take those steps and create the action steps to make it happen. And do you find many people that come to you and want to change? Yes, they have that fear and all the rest of it, and you can work with them for a little while, but you find that then they've never really taken the action to make the changes because they find them too hard.
So I love that you say that, because that's the key as well, like action. It's all good and well to have the tools and strategies, but if you're not actually putting them into action into your life, then, you know, the results aren't going to show up. And I feel it's like the actions, it's not as if the actions are too difficult. It's more, you know, they might have a blockage around taking that action because it might stretch them or, you know, push them out of their comfort zone a little bit. And I'm probably my, you know, primary school teaching background, I'm really big on, you know, having something that they can implement into their everyday life. And we start off small, we start off achievable, and all the actions that I give to my clients are actions that I've personally done myself. So I'm not asking somebody to do something that's, you know, right out of the box. I'm actually, you know, doing the do myself so that I can lead by example and just help facilitate their growth.
Yeah. So you're actually walking the talk. You can't coach someone if you haven't experienced it. You can't say that you understand something if you've not experienced it. And we find, I find that there are a lot of people out there, they might say they understand something when they truly don't understand it because they've never experienced it. So we have to be careful with our language and how we say things too. And I've just said one word 2 or 3 times, which I don't normally use, and that's can't. Because I say there's no such thing as can't. It's I don't want to. So, you know, I suppose there's certain times that you use certain words, but you don't need to use them all the time. But it is all about taking action, and it's all about supporting your clients to be able to step up one step at a time if that's what they need to do, or take a giant leap and really go for it. Pretty scary whether it's a little step or a big step. It depends on the individual, doesn't it?
Yes, that's right. And what one person may perceive as a little step might be a massive step for another person. And it's okay. Like where you're at is okay.
Yes. And so experiences, what sort of experiences have you had with some of your clients? Something that's really quite exciting when it's sort of come out of the box. You haven't expected it to happen so soon. Has there been any experiences like that happen to you?
So when was it? Last year in August, I was working with a lady who was just finishing off her study to become a naturopath. And you know, she'd sort of come from a PT background, so she was making that transition. And she'd finished her study at the beginning of December, and she was booking clients in for December, January and February. And, you know, she was saying to me, I would not have done this without you, you know, in my corner, helping me along the way, you know, giving me those tools and strategies. Another client, probably about 3 weeks ago, sent me a message saying, Gerry, I've just had my best month in my business so far. And I was just like, just doing like a happy dance.
Yes.
Yeah, another, like you talked about, language is so important. So the glorification of busy, you know, I'm so busy. So I challenged a client to replace the word busy with productive. And of course it sounds really odd when you first do it. It's like, you know, how are you today, Gerry? I'm being really productive. But it sounds really weird. But once you sort of get into it, you're like, wow, I've achieved a lot today. I've been really productive with my time. The whole energy around it changes. So this lady is a busy mum of like 2-year-old twins. And she also has an older child. And she just said she feels lighter. She feels like she's got more energy to do things. And that was within a week. Within a week of her just changing that one word.
And it's all about attitude too, isn't it?
Yes.
You're looking at changing your attitude, and once you change your attitude, then things change. But being busy and being productive are two totally different things. We can all be busy being busy, but Are we busy being productive, or are we busy just being busy? And looking at, time, and people say time management, but it's not managing time, it's managing the activities within a time frame, because we all have the same amount of time. So therefore we have to look at it, and busy people get lots of things done. And I always find that if I'm put under the pump, I can get things done a lot quicker than I can if I've got a lot of time to do it in. But time, we don't manage time. It just comes and goes, but we manage what we do within the time. And you find that your clients are managing their time a lot better when they see that they're more productive than busy.
Oh, definitely. And that is, like, I'm so glad that you brought that up about, time management. It's managing the activity within the time that you've got. And like, that is such a big thing for clients who've just come and see me for personal development or professional development, like the coaching. It does, it's really about creating a structure and, what activities are you doing in this time? And you know how you said you work really well to a deadline? So many people are like that, and I'm like, use that strength. That is awesome. See it as a strength, not a weakness. So
if you're under the pump and you think, oh, I've got to get this done, you'll really work hard to get it done in the time frame. But it's not a really good way to work. It's actually managing the projects within the time frames that we have, and really being disciplined and making the decision to discipline yourself to do that. And once you start doing that, which you would be teaching your clients, then they would find that they are more productive than busy.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And the discipline is really important. I used to think like discipline was a dirty word, and I don't really like it. But probably a lot of people can relate. But that's the stamina, that's the resilience, that's the discipline. And that as well is probably a skill that we may not have been exposed to or taught before. So it's another strategy in the toolbox.
Yes. And making decisions. Some people don't like making decisions. They like other people to make decisions for them or conform to others. So getting your clients to make decisions for themselves and disciplining themselves to actually get that activity done in a time frame. So do you set time frames for your clients to get things done in?
Oh, yes, I do. Yeah, I definitely do. I've got a client that's like, Gerry, how do you remember this? And I'm like, I've got my strategies. But she loves it. She's like, I just need that because, one, I know that somebody is going to follow me up and hold me accountable. And two, I'm using my time more effectively. So
Yeah. And it does make a difference, doesn't it? And particularly if you've got an accountability person, someone that says you need to get this done in this time, and if you don't get it done in this time, then you've got to explain the reason why to your accountability buddy or your coach. So having an accountability buddy when you say you're going to do something is a really great strategy, isn't it?
Oh, it definitely is. And like I know myself in the past, I will, if I've got an accountability exercise buddy, I will get out of bed at 5, get dressed, meet them on the footpath to go for a walk. If I don't have that accountability or that friend that I'm meeting, I'm like, snooze, that sort of thing in the past. So I think we show up for other people more than we probably show up for ourselves. So that's why, accountability is just such a great tool that, I use in my coaching.
And it's also a good tool to discipline yourself, to make you do things without having someone else there to say, okay, they're relying on me, I need to be there. You do that for a while, but then you build a new habit, and you can get up at that time and take yourself for a walk without, someone else holding your hand basically, or having that accountability to somebody else. So it's creating a discipline as well, having that accountability buddy, isn't it?
That's exactly right. And I mean, another example of another client is we were really heavy on the accountability until it became a habit for her, and then she was messaging me when she'd completed the task. So it had gone from me sort of, being the accountability to her then being her own accountability. So creating those habits, those long-lasting habits.
So, Gerry, with the clients that you work with, what do you find is the biggest stumbling block for them?
Self-image, like how they see and perceive or feel about themselves. And I feel like they're just carrying a lot of, old beliefs or, paradigms about themselves and dragging it with them into the future. So it's almost like an unburdening and realization that, I can create the life that I want. I can create the future that I want or get the results that I want. So it's it's that unburdening of those old negative beliefs or habitual behaviors that seem to run run the show or take over. And then probably also confidence. Like when I connect with people and I, do that initial consultation or coaching session with them, I say, what's something you'd like to improve in your life or business right now? And confidence just keeps coming up over and over again.
Yeah. And I think most of us lack a certain amount of confidence, and it depends on the circumstances, it depends on the situation, but we do have self-doubt. We do, lack that self-image until we actually do some work on ourselves and understand that we have to like ourselves first. We have to love ourselves before we can love somebody else. So we have to be true to ourselves, and this is a very difficult thing when you're a mum or particularly women, not so much men, but men, can be like it as well. But just liking yourself and saying, I'm okay, and then self-nurturing and not feeling guilty about self-nurturing. Do you find that when you're working with women that they feel guilty for doing things for themselves?
Oh, definitely. Mother's guilt really, plays a big thing with a couple of my clients, especially at the moment, because they may have small children or they may have never done or invested in themselves before. So definitely.
Yeah. What would be 3 tips that you would give to someone who was looking for a coach? What would you say to somebody if they were looking for a coach? Let's say a personal development coach first, and then secondly for a business coach, because they're 2 different things. What tips would you give someone? The questions that they need to ask the person that they're looking at to consider being their coach.
Yeah, beautiful. So interview your coach. So see if you guys are a match before you work with that person. And from a coaching perspective as well, like myself, I interview my prospects to see, if we are a match, if I can actually help this person, and to see if it's going to be a good working relationship. So, get a feel for who they are. The other thing is, are they doing are they living their life how you want to live their life? So I think we take advice from people that maybe aren't showing up authentically or, being real. And I really emphasize have a look. Are they really happy, or is it a bit of a fake it till you make it sort of thing? Are they really showing up and going into bat for their clients, or is it about financial gain? Get a feel for that person and whether you feel that, okay, they're living or they're doing the do, I suppose, which is what you sort of said before. And then your third thing, I reckon just jump in and take a plunge. The paradigms sort of kick in, or the negative beliefs about self, especially personal coaching, when you're thinking of investing time and money in yourself. And I'm thinking, that's exactly what you need. you need to just jump in and say, you know, I need to do this for me. And so that's my personal. So with the professional side, like previously I said, you know, you bring you into business, you bring you into relationship. So again, same sort of thing, like get a feel for your coach. Can this coach actually help you and work with you? Are they in a business that's thriving and growing? And, you know, can they help you with that in your business? And the other thing is like, you know, do I have the time and money to invest? And if you're like, oh, a bit hesitant and all, just do it.
Just do it.
Yeah.
So,
action.
Yeah, and they're two different coaches, aren't they? Because a business coach has to walk their talk. If they're not walking their talk, they shouldn't be coaching businesses. And with personal development and you know, that's a little bit different, but you have to have been able to bring yourself to a space in life, I suppose, where you've experienced certain things along the way and you've had those ups and downs so that you can say, well, I've experienced that, so I can work with this person. And not everyone is your client. So as you said before, you interview your coach, and the coach gets a feel for the client, and the client gets a feel for the coach. And if that coach can't work with the client, then the coach should be able to refer them on to someone that they can work with. Don't just leave them in the lurch.
And I've done that in the past. Like I have definitely met people that we just aren't a good gel or a good match, or I don't have the skills with where they're at. So I definitely like refer them on to, you know, other people, other coaches, or even like different area that they may need to focus on.
Beautiful. Well, we've come to the end of the show, Gerry. Now, how can people get in contact with you?
So I'm pretty social media savvy. So I love myself a bit of Facebook and Instagram, and you just look for Gerry Huston Business and Life Coaching. And you'll see me daily on there. I'm doing like little inspirational videos or lives, putting up, you know, quotes and comments. And I'm just, you know, giving lots of really great information and value for you, because I just feel like, you know, the more I can give, the better community, the better world we live in. So you can find me there.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Gerry. Thank you so much.
Thank you, babe.
Yeah, for the time. And this has been Talking All Things Business. My guest, Gerry Huston. If you need to get in contact with her, you will see her details at the end of the show. I'm Faye Waterman, the host of Talking All Things Business. If you want to be on the show or want to find anything out about the show, please personal message me through Facebook, and let's organise a conversation to find out more. It's all about talking about you and your business and why you're involved in what you do. So it's bye for now, and thank you. Bye, Gerry.